Everyone, welcome to a special episode of PowItOut Short. We've got Lonein, Sheldon, and Dayana. You know the drill. Every episode we come up with a new topic. Pow it out, share it, and discuss for your enjoyment. Today, very, very, very special episode of PowItOut Short. Our previous episode, we talked about aliens landing, coming, their technology, whatever. Mm-hmm. Show was really popular, guys.
Yeah,
we
got a lot of hits.
More of our perspective on aliens in itself. So, we have a surprise for you. We actually brought our own local resident alien expert. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you AlienXpertX.
Thank you for having me.
Alien experts, thank you for joining us. Okay, so, like I said before, a lot of our fans are just really into this whole alien conspiracy. Are they out there? Do they know we're here? What do they think about us? What's the deal? First question. Aliens. What's the big deal with the big heads and almond eyes? The little itty bitty mouth.
Okay, good question. Well, there's a very broad spectrum of life outside this planet. So that what you're referring to, the big head, the almond eyes, that's it is a common physical type, but it's only one type. But why are their heads big? Why are their eyes large? It's sort of evolution of brains becoming larger. A lot of times the mouths and noses, sometimes noses will just disappear over, as species evolve. They need.
They don't need to breathe.
They don't. They breathe. Well, eventually, yeah. They don't need to really breathe oxygen the way we do. I mean, that's a whole nother level of evolution. But in terms of like physical body evolving, it's more about your eyes is really the main thing that you're perceiving with is visually. So your eyes get bigger. You don't need to use your mouth as much because a lot of it becomes telepathic, and which is part of the brain being so big is a lot of that's really going on as this kind of telepathic interface. Ears, not so much.
Right. Maybe
to a degree, but yeah, eyes. It's really all about like taking in all your surroundings.
Wow. So you kind of alluded earlier that the big head, almond eyes, that's one type of possibility of an alien out there. There's actually more. Like it would not surprise you if there was more than one type of alien out there.
Oh, definitely. In fact, I would say one of the most. It's so broad. If you've ever seen the movie Star Wars, I'm not a huge. I don't know if you've ever heard that movie. I've actually never been a huge fan of that movie, but in recent years I've come to realize that what's portrayed in that movie is right on. So George Lucas knew something about life beyond the Earth, and he must have had some kind of intel on that.
You know what? I've always found his hair intriguing. It seems like that makes sense.
And I wonder a lot of times, like, do you think they come in human form?
Definitely. I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay, so if, let's say I was looking at my sister and I kind of had a hint, she may be an alien, what would be the traits I'm looking for?
Yes. Are aliens living amongst us?
Right. What do we look for?
AlienXpertX?
They are living amongst us. Yes. Sometimes there are some things you can find, but most of the times, no. They look exactly like us. I could be one. You could be one. You really wouldn't know the difference
at all. They don't show anything.
Sometimes it's like they have a certain, almost like an ethnicity difference. Like slight skin color. I mean, you can take like a human that you're used to seeing on the street and apply the color blue or the color green, or it's that specific of looking just like us but being a different color, or
so not the traditional green or blue alien.
Every color, it's such a wide spectrum, but some of them look just like.
So they camouflaged into human-like.
Some have camouflaged, and some have taken on human bodies.
And jobs?
And jobs.
They do everything like a human.
Yes. Some are just, this is how they come. There's some planets, they look just like we do. So
I'm sorry, AlienXpertX. Speaking about come, do they procreate with regular humans?
yes, they do. I mean, especially like in history, there's been a lot of cases. I mean, some people believe that we humans, as we know them today, is the result of ETs procreating with Earth life. So, but yes, and some don't, and there's really, like I said, this broad spectrum where some aren't even in physical bodies.
Wow. So we have to be cautious of everyone.
Fascinating. Fascinating. I'm sorry, AlienXpertX. Are you an alien?
I wish I'd love to tell you yes.
But if you were, would you even tell us yes?
But if I was, would I?
Right.
That's a good question.
I feel like you would.
Would aliens?
I don't know. Maybe his mission is he can't see it.
Well, think of it like this, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, we live in Miami, right? There's like
It's a melting pot.
Melting pot. Yeah, there's a ton of them.
And you can sort of like let's say someone who's identifies with a certain country that they that their family's from, but then that person wasn't born in Colombia, but they feel they're Colombian or something, but they're born in Miami. So you have that effect going on with extraterrestrials too, that a lot of them grew up on Earth,
So do you feel that sometimes an alien could be so embedded into our way of life that they could forget themselves that they are aliens amongst aliens?
Yes. In fact, this is very common too, is that you have souls on other planets who choose to come to Earth, and they do the normal process of being born into an Earth body. So, like reincarnation. But so they are legitimately born on Earth to Earth parents, but their soul the last place their soul has been is another planetary system or star system. So
that theory does kind of take away from the extravagant theory of them coming from another world and visiting us, as far as aliens being born on the planet.
Yeah. Well, it kind of ties into one of my questions I have. Will our atmosphere and bacteria and germs be hazardous to them in the scenario of them coming in some kind of grand arrival and the little ladder coming down from the thing? That's probably not going to happen that way. If they're being born in Earth bodies, of course, that would be the opportunity for them to become immune to whatever is in our atmosphere. But if they did do an arrival on a ship or something like that, would our atmosphere and all of our germs and bacteria and all of these things be hazardous to them, or will they have thought of that?
That's a great question, which I think they would have thought through. I think it's interesting because you're asking about the big heads and the almond eyes, and one of the species that we associate with that look is the grays, which a lot of people have heard of.
Grays.
The grays are actually, from what I understand, have been thriving on this planet, but as of recently, they're not able to. They were getting sick, they were dying off, and they basically had to leave in order for they came here to actually, what's the word? They came here to basically save their species, essentially, and use human DNA to try to kind of fix some things that they've messed up in their own their evolution got a little off track, mostly due to technology. So the more you integrate technology into your body, it kind of throws things off. So the problem that they were facing was they weren't able to reproduce, so they're trying to create like a hybrid race with humans, but they were not they weren't compassionate at all. They were just it was just very
clinical.
Yes, very clinical. And so there's actually been like a motion to get them off this planet. So our atmosphere became toxic to them.
Yeah, there's your answer.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah, I've heard
well,
that.
let's head out to one of our viewers. They have a question for our AlienXpertX. Hello, listener. Thanks for joining the show.
Oh, I'm on? Oh, yes, hello. Thank you so much for taking my question. Let me just take this time to say how much of a huge fan I am of the show and what you are doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're trying very hard.
The show.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah. It is really quite exquisite with today's technology, the reach people have to one another. It really shows that really anyone with a camera can get on the internet and pass it off as content. That's what's so fascinating about your show.
Okay, what's your question?
I'm sorry. My question is for AlienXpertX. As you know, the consensus that any kind of alien life form that may make its presence known to us would have to be of a far higher intelligence, and their technology would have to be beyond anything we could even comprehend. Would that be the same for their biological evolution? Would a humanoid vessel adapt and evolve to the point where waste disposal is no longer required, and would any organisms related to an exit of waste be kept in evolution of an advanced species? I'm sorry. Do you think aliens have assholes?
Oh, great question. I was just waiting for someone to bring that up.
Assholes.
Wow, really? Oh, yeah.
Well, some do and some don't.
Really?
So, and I mean, I haven't seen personally, so I can't give you 100%. But they definitely know that we have them. That is, how do you say it?
Are they going to use that to their advantage?
They do use it to their advantage. Some do.
I'm sorry, but a thought just came. Yes, they do know that we do have them. Is that why they have this fixation when abducting us? They repeatedly invade our assholes.
Yes. So that's basically
They like what they don't
the
have.
most direct.
Interesting.
That's basically the most direct point of access to all the vital organs.
Okay.
Correct.
And it really comes
Yeah,
down
that's
to it. Yes, a lot of people have reported being abducted and having that very, very invasive process. And, sometimes it's used in a kind of a, like a clinical way or like, I mean, if you think about it, of how farmers work with cattle, they use that for reproductive purposes, working with cattle to make sure that I don't know. I don't work with cattle, but
Right.
But humans are similar in that way.
We're cattle.
And but I can say that for sure they do positive and negative extraterrestrials altogether. They use that in humans. It's just the most direct way to get to everything you need to get to, and it can be a little uncomfortable for the person who's maybe on the table.
Well, not if there's wine first.
Yeah, you
Wine and
wine,
cheese.
you give them a little wine, a little
Oh, I don't know
dinner,
about the cheese.
nice music.
Yeah, the cheese might have a opposite reaction.
But one thing is said for sure: whether or not assholes do become extinct itself, there will always be assholes around us.
Yes.
Good way to put it. Good way to put it.
Okay.
I think we have another caller. Or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Viewer, what's your question?
Hi, my name is Meldon Farnagy. I wanted to know what the #1 song on Glee is, a 581B is.
Oh, yes. That would be Happy. The song Happy.
Wow.
It's on every chart on
It's just
Earth, so
never gonna
that's
end.
the #1 in the universe, basically, right now. I mean,
Seriously?
Yeah, okay. But definitely a lot of classical music, a lot of composers throughout history on this planet have been extraterrestrials. There's probably if you go to Ultra Music Festival, you're probably going to find some walking around.
Wow.
There's plenty there, I
Or up on
imagine.
stage.
And we'd never know.
No.
You never know.
I'm
that
sure
Apparently
they're
we
happy
will
that
not.
it's going to be kept in Miami.
Yeah.
They're like, it's in Miami.
Yeah, that's how they.
I would imagine.
Okay.
I would imagine. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. AlienXpertX. Do you think aliens have any interest in helping us out whatsoever?
Do aliens have interest in helping? Yes, absolutely. In fact, that is why a lot of them are here. That is the reason that a lot of extraterrestrials are interfacing with Earth, is that they are tied in with our karma, and they basically, definitely, a lot have a huge interest in humanity. Part of the reason is because a lot of there's different groups. I mean, we're talking very broad, just using the word alien, but there's a lot of groups that have something in their karma that caused us to be in the situation we're in today. Sometimes a certain group will provide technology with humans on this planet, and and it'll seem like a very benign, benevolent, motion, and it'll have down the road repercussions that you can't even imagine. And so so now they have to come back and try to help us, but there's a lot there. Basically, Earth is being kept down in a way. I mean, humanity on this planet has really been
By them?
by some groups. I mean, I come back to the movie Star Wars, which again, I'm not this huge diehard fan, but it's like, it really is. There's a lot of things in those movies where you have this dark side and you have a light side. So you have basically darker groups who, for thousands of years, have been keeping Earth in a certain vibration.
The Republicans?
Some Republicans are aiding in that. Well, that's the thing. You have a lot of politicians who are actually aiding in that process, and knowingly. So some don't probably have a clue,
Right.
but some definitely do. And let's just say, in general, a lot of high leaders around the world are taking orders from negative extraterrestrials, for sure. And then you basically have all these other positive groups who are trying to change that. And I mean, it's not even just giving us technology. It's like lifting a veil in a way. It's mostly about knowledge, disclosure. So if we really knew what was beyond just driving our car to work every day and,
I'm glad you said car, because we've made so much advances in everything else. Why are we still driving cars?
Oh my God!
Gasoline?
Thank you. Saves me from having to ask it.
I'm glad you asked that. I've been thinking about that too.
The bigwigs from the oil companies, they're aliens.
They're aliens.
Or taking orders from aliens.
Yeah. Some might be.
Negative.
For sure. I mean, if you think about all the advances in that we've seen in the past 100 years, the combustion engine really hasn't changed, and we don't need to be using that system. And in fact, all of transportation should be in a different state completely. We can have teleportation.
That would be
I
great.
mean that completely seriously. Like, by the year 1970, we have devices that could have been commercially available, without crazy problem, and not testing. I don't mean this 1970 we were in this testing phase and we could have started to do it. No, we had the bugs worked out. Like, we don't need to be taking airplanes from here or there. You can have Grand Central Station as a hub that you literally teleport, and it's more of like a jump through a portal kind of thing, but it's like you walk into an elevator and the elevator opens up and you're in the other place where
Like Doctor Who.
That's awesome.
kind of like Doctor
The
Who.
TARDIS.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Excuse me. Sorry. Now, my next question ties into that. How do you suppose, if they come with this arrival, coming on a ship and everything, how will they overcome not having the atmosphere to push against for propulsion? When birds fly, they're pushing against air molecules. When an airplane flies, it's pushing against something. In the zero vacuum of space, there's nothing to push against unless it's dark matter. How do you think they've managed to overcome this hurdle?
What the fuck?
Wow.
That's a great question.
Yes.
It is.
It is a great question.
Yeah.
All right,
If you
aliens,
ever
right.
see, I guess it's not every day that we have access to like seeing real footage of like UFOs, but if you've ever seen any kind of clip anywhere where you see a ship that's like doing this kind of wobbling or moving erratically, people report that often of erratic movement of ships. Part of the reason that they're moving so erratically is because of that our atmosphere is a little bit difficult to navigate in. So what they use is anti-gravity propulsion. I don't even know if propulsion is the right word, but they don't need to like push against something to go where they need to go, and most of the long distances are through portals. So they don't go, usually there's different ways, but they don't like leave Earth and just go travel straight through. They're basically inside of a ship. A lot of ships, there's like a chair, and the chair is the high technology, and it interfaces with the consciousness of the occupant, and it opens up a portal. The chair opens it up with the help of the occupant, and then you just go through the portal and you're where you need to be. But then when you're like navigating around, it's hard to explain, but it is this anti-gravity thing, and it is rocky. What was the other part of your question? Because you asked a couple things.
Well, actually, I was wondering if it's, in the that actually answered how would they overcome the zero vacuum of space, but if there's teleportation, they don't need to overcome that. They've already overcome it.
The really highest evolved, I shouldn't even say highest evolved, the higher evolved than we think of like these people who ride in metal ships, but that's actually in the bigger picture like lower level entities who are riding around in these metal ships. I mean, some of them might be at our level of development, except they have this great technology. But the higher level beings don't have a metal ship. They don't get out on a ramp. They bring themselves wherever they need to be. So they just appear where they need to be. They don't even use ships at all.
Yeah, they're the badasses.
Yeah, they basically just
They're
like
the
walk
badasses.
in wherever they want.
Pretty much.
So damn skinny and weak, man. They can run somewhere, man. Damn, walk somewhere, man.
And a lot of these really high evolved beings are not physical, are not in a physical form the way we would normally think of it. Like
what they would look
the way
like.
we would understand it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
I
at
think
higher frequency.
I think we have one more question from our online viewers. Go ahead. What's your question?
Hello, my name is Ayana Pinta, and I want to know if you think aliens have feelings.
Okay.
So that's the question. Okay. Yes, they definitely. Some definitely do. Some do not. So again, we're speaking very broad. Some have zero emotions. I'm sure there's some out there who don't even have a soul, but I'm not an expert so much on that aspect. But
I'm sorry, AlienXpertX. Did you just say you are not an expert?
Can we edit that?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Definitely many extraterrestrials do have a lot of feelings. But what's interesting is that they express their feelings in a very different way. But I will say that a lot of groups have a real compassion for humans,
Okay.
for the situation we're in. This is one of the hardest situations that anyone could be in, is to be living on this planet at this time. It's when we talk about say what heaven might be like or what hell might be like, a lot of these extraterrestrials think of our existence as being like hellish because it's so difficult.
Right.
Because what else is out there besides the day-to-day that we know is that you manifest what you need. Food is abundant.
You don't struggle. There's no struggle.
You don't struggle for everything that you do.
Yeah.
You can manifest your needs.
God, imagine having that power.
That
It's
is
a great superpower.
available to humanity once, but it's really that disclosure that brings about that. But yeah, they have a lot of feelings, but they express it very differently. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell what they're feeling, and sometimes you'll just get this kind of like it looks like an eruption of emotion, but you don't know what it is until they kind of tell you. So it can be confusing for most people.
Okay.
Amazing, fascinating, guys. Obviously I did not see the show going this
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
I mean,
I feel really informed, you know.
AlienXpertX, you have truly opened our eyes.
Yeah.
I believe we have one last question from the viewer.
Okay.
Okay. What's your question?
If aliens ever arrive, do they still jerk their meat or flick their bean?
You know what? I think my level of expertise only goes so far. Can I get back to you on that one?
Well, I guess with questions like that, that's just a sign for us to end the show right here.
I do believe.
So,
I think so.
AlienXpertX, thank you so much for joining us today.
rock.
Indeed.
You rock.
Indeed.
We come in peace.
We
Okay.
come in peace. If you are an alien,
Yeah, just
hey,
in case.
we're all about it.
Yeah.
All right, you know,
We're on your side.
we're on your side.
Yeah, we want to know. We want to know.
Yeah.
We want to be informed, you know, educated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We
thanks
believe.
thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Anytime.
If our fans want more, we will definitely bring you back.
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
Okay. But
And they will let us know. They're very vocal.
Oh, yeah.
yes. So for any alien questions, theories, or whatever, PowItOutShow@gmail.com for all your alien. No, not all your. Any comments or suggestions, you know where to go. YouTube/PowItOutShow YouTube at PowItOutShow. Hit us up. For Lonein, Sheldon, Dayana, and AlienXpertX. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.